Hello, good morning, sir. Myself, Yashwanth. Today, my topic is checked and unchecked exceptions. Here is the introduction to exceptions in Java. Exceptions are events that disrupt the normal form of program execution. In Java, exceptions are categorized into checked and unchecked exceptions. Understanding these categories helps developers handle errors effectively. There are two types of exceptions: checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions. These are exceptions checked for compile time. It is for checked exceptions. In unchecked exceptions, these occur at runtime and are not checked at compile time. And here exceptions mean exceptions are used to signal the occurrence of an abnormal condition during program execution. They can arise from various sources, including user input, file handling, and network issues. Java provides a robust framework for managing exceptions through the try-catch mechanism. Here is the overview of checked exceptions. Checked exceptions are checked at compile time, requiring explicit handling by the programmer. Here we can observe object throwable. There are error and exception. In error, linkage error, virtual machine error, AWT error. In exceptions are three types: runtime exceptions, SQL exceptions, IO exceptions. In this runtime exceptions, arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, array index out of bound exception, illegal argument exceptions. In IOT exception, interrupted exception, file not found exception. These are the checked some of the exceptions. Common example include IOE exception and SQL exception. Failing to handle a checked exception results in compilation error. You can, if the code is not working properly, then it will raise an error. Here is the characteristics of checked exceptions. Checked exceptions extend the exception class but do not extend runtime exceptions. They must have either in a try catch block or declared in the method signature. Here you can see throwable exception error. In this error contains unchecked errors. In the exception, runtime exception. In the runtime exception, unchecked exception classes and exception are checked exceptions. And this ensures that programmer is aware of potential issues that might occur during execution. Here is the example of checked exception, and here is in left side you can observe that source code of the checked exception handling and the explanation of the checked exceptions. And then coming to the code, here using public class checked exception example. Checked exception example are the class name, public static void main string args. You can know we are using try block for printing program starts, and the program is to sleep 2ms means 2ms may throw interrupted exception. Here you are displaying program resumes after delay and using catch block for interrupted exception each. Here thread was interrupted, you can print output as explanation. We can clearly explaining here that thread sleep 2000 makes the program pause for 2 seconds. Sleep can throw an interrupted exceptions, checked exception, so it must be handled. The catch block catches and handles the exception if it occurs. Here, coming to the overview of unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions are not checked at compile and allowed for more flexibility. Here we can see throwable exception contains and error contains. In exceptions, IO exception, class not found, data access, and so on, and the runtime exceptions. This in left side you can observe checked exception, in right side unchecked exceptions. They include runtime exceptions such as null pointer exception and arithmetic exception and so on. The Java runtime environment handles these exceptions, often terminating the program if unhandled. Here is the characteristics of unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions extend the runtime exception class, indicating the programming errors. They typically represent issues that could have been avoided through proper coding practices. And handling unchecked exceptions is optional, but it is good practice to do so when it's necessary. Here is the example of unchecked exception handling source code. Here using public class unchecked exception example, same as checked example class name, public void main string, or you can using try block. If arithmetic exception, if 10 by 0 you can get error that is showing in the input, you can result as uh, on catch block arithmetic exception is system.out.println error cannot find divided by 0. Here we clearly observed that the program attempts to divide 10 by 0. Since division by 0 is not possible, no. So that's why Java throws an arithmetic exception. The catch block catches and handles the exception, preventing the program from crashing. And key differences between checked and unchecked exceptions. Checked exception must be declared or handled, while unchecked exceptions do not require such actions. Checked exceptions are used for recoverable conditions, whereas unchecked exceptions indicate the programming errors. The choice of exception type often depends on whether the error is recoverable or not. And if for practices for handling exception, always handle checked exceptions to avoid compilation issues and ensure a smooth experience. Used unchecked exception for programming errors that should not be recovered from. Document exception in your code to inform users about potential pitfalls and how to manage them. Thank you so